Welcome back to the Federal Drive with Terry Gerton on Federal News Network. The Trump administration has rescinded a rule related to the Hatch Act that now allows federal employees to wear campaign paraphernalia. That is, only if the items are not in support of a person who's actively running for office. That may be confusing, as potential candidates don't seem to ever stop campaigning in this era of influencers and branding. For some explanation of this move and what it could potentially mean for the Hatch Act overall, Federal News Network's Eric White spoke with Michael Fallings, managing partner at the law firm Tully Rinke.
New rule related to the Hatch Act released by the Trump administration. They are no strangers to the Hatch Act, as the first Trump administration was accused of violating it quite a bit. But this go around, this may affect the everyday federal employees who want to show support for candidates in a particular manner. Can you just kind of lay out for us what this new rule says?
Yes. And I mean, it's really a kind of loosening of the policies, or reverting how the Hatch Act was enforced by the Office of Special Counsel in the prior administration. It's allowing employees to wear campaign paraphernalia or political activity act uniforms or whatnot after the election day. And essentially the administration is saying they're not going to find Hatch Act violations if people decide to wear any kind of political gear, after the election day.
And in this, it seems as if there are politicians that even when they don't win, they're always almost considering running, and people like to create brands and things of that nature. And nobody does that more than the current president. Is there any caveats to that of, even though you're wearing something supporting someone who's not actively campaigning at the moment, it could be considered still that you're campaigning for a certain political candidate or not?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good question. I think, the purpose of the Hatch Act was to prevent any kind of political influence in implementing and enforcing government programs. That's been the purpose, and that it is still in place. I think the Trump administration has argued that, well, this is really a First Amendment issue as well, as far as what people could do. But I think the Trump administration would still probably agree that if a government official was using their political influence, especially in some high-level meetings that were wearing this paraphernalia, that's probably not going to be protected by the First Amendment, or using their political ideologies to implement these programs, especially if their political ideologies are against what the Trump administration stands for. So I still think that as far as exceptions or things, the Hatch Act is still in place. I think, if, there's still ways that employees could still be found to have violated the Hatch Act. I think this is supposed to be some sort of just kind of broadening of the enforcement of it regarding the political gear being worn by employees.
Yeah, as far as the actual enforcement goes, I get the Hatch Act decision sent to my inbox. Haven't seen a lot of those lately, and we have a new administration that's still. I know that it seems like a million things have happened, but from a standpoint of actually setting up a government, we're only 5 months into it. Have you all seen any signs of which way the new folks in charge at the OSC will be going as far as enforcing the Hatch Act?
I mean, not specifically. These cases, I guess, aren't as common, because the how to enforce the Hatch Act is you submit a complaint to the Office of Special Counsel, and then the Office of Special Counsel then has to decide to pursue that claim. I think another change within this new policy was that, I think it was for non-Senate appointees, for Hatch Act violations, that will go right to the administration instead of the MSPB to make those decisions. But again, to answer your question, we haven't seen any specific way the Office of Special Counsel will pursue these, other than there's been changes as far as the management of Office of Special Counsel. So I would assume that they're gonna comply with what this administration has provided, and which I guess maybe even lessen their goals as far as enforcing the Hatch Act. They may not pursue as many claims, under the Hatch Act, especially regarding political gear. But again, like I said, there are still employees that, could violate the Hatch Act. And I think the Office of Special Counsel still pursue those claims, but maybe not as many given this new policy.
We're speaking with Michael Fallings, managing partner at Tully Rinke. So I don't know if you want to lay out your opinion of this, but we've had some people say the Hatch Act it's just going to get whittled away to where the whole idea behind the law will kind of go by the wayside. Is this a move that will weaken it, or will this actually help OSC step up and be able to follow claims that actually violate, the code that federal workers take, rather than just going after everybody who accidentally wears the wrong shirt that day or something?
In my view, it is weakening it. And I could understand that opinion that, it's being whittled away, because I think there's been sentiment made across the administration that, supporting the administration is not a violation, and using that political influence is not a violation. And, I know the administration has said that they have absolute, basically, power over the executive branch, and they could have people that have the same political ideology within their branch and within the federal government, and remove those people, and they have, that do not have their same political beliefs. That started on day one, and that's akin to what the Hatch Act was really aimed to do, is to kind of remove those political agendas from implementing programs. So I think with this change, and I could see, future issues where in the past maybe there were Hatch Act violations, but this administration is not finding them. So I agree with that somewhat, that it does seem like, the Hatch Act is kind of being dwindled away, based on, what it protects.
Yeah, and this kind of goes back to my other point of folks campaigning all the time. I mean, there are going to have to be some more specifics, right, for this to actually take effect, because like I said, are you going to have a list of everyone who's actively seeking office and give cutoff dates for, hey, you got to take this poster down because it's election season now? I mean, the election seasons aren't getting any shorter, right?
Right. Yeah. And I mean, that's a good point. It's going to be hard to enforce, because we're not just talking about a presidential campaign or election season. There's other elections, across the country. So, it's not exactly clear how this will be implemented, as far as post or pre-election day. And then, do you have a list of employees? Do you have some sort of check-in basis or something? I don't know. It'll be interesting how this plays out.
Certainly will. Michael Fallings, managing partner at Tully Rinke, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
That's Michael Fallings speaking with Federal News Network's Eric White. We'll post this interview at federalnewsnetwork.com/Federal Drive. Subscribe to the Federal Drive wherever you get your podcasts.